Well, it doesn't seem that long ago that we were riding 280 and 300 watt-hour batteries on our e-mountain bikes. But battery brand BMZ have just announced that they have got some new 48-volt, 820 watt-hour batteries. Internal in-tube batteries here. Chris, this is huge news, right? This is
big news, isn't it? I remember, as you mentioned, a couple of years back, 500 watt hours was the norm, and then I think stepped it up to 700 watt hours with the Specialized. We see a few 750s around, but this is a big step forward, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I think it's the Fantic have got 720 watt hour on their bike, but
yeah. I
mean, surely by the end of 2021, we will see off-the-shelf e-mountain bikes with 800 watt hour batteries for sure, right?
It's going to be crazy times, isn't it? Gone are the days of taking a spare battery in your backpack. It's going to be all built into your bike. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah. Now, I want to return now to something we mentioned last week on carbon wheels. Now, we've had a comment from Rolex who says carbon wheels are not stiff. What we meant to say was some carbon wheels can be too stiff. Now, we don't take that back at all, because they are in general. But then again, you can get some alloy wheels which are like cheese. But nevertheless, on the subject of carbon wheels, and as Rolex mentioned, the zip wheels from SRAM, they do offer a different design. But the news is the new zip wheels actually come with an e-mountain bike rating due to the different design of the free hub. There's a stronger free hub on the bike. But Chris, the whole business of wheels, carbon, alloy, I mean, we tend to use alloy wheels more on our e-mountain bikes, although I think on the Canyon that I use, I've got a carbon wheel on there. It depends on the type of riding that we're doing, doesn't it, really?
Yeah, definitely. I think that hub design is super important too. I think one of the main things for an e-bike is that it has a steel free hub body. When it comes to replacing that cassette, sometimes on an aluminium one, it can get quite, kind of chewed into there, making that cassette removal quite a hassle. But for me, I think aluminium rims all day long for the type of riding that I do, because you can repair them as well. Carbon wheel, you hit it and it can sometimes crack, whereas an aluminium one, it will dent, and sometimes you can actually remove that with a little bit of tweaking on it.
Yeah, I actually think I've broken every single pair of carbon wheels I've ever ridden. But,
and they're super expensive as well, aren't they?
They can be expensive. I think in terms of durability, definitely alloy is the way to go. But like I said, it all is down to the design of that wheel and not the material. Moving on now to dashboards, Chris. And Garmin have got a new, Fazua should I say, have got a new Garmin feature for their dashboard, haven't they?
Yeah, so it's looking really cool. So you can actually download this on the Garmin IQ store from Fazua, and it's going to display so much stuff on your Garmin. So it's going to give you a heads-up display of speed, battery charge level, cadence, motor power, your rider performance, the amount of watts you're putting in, and then loads of other things, from temperature on the motor. When it's getting too hot, it's going to warn you. All great stuff to have heads up in your face when you're out riding.
Well, I can assure you, the last time I went out on a Fazua, I wasn't overheating because we were in North Wales on the Lapia Ease SD. Great bit of riding on that. Now, a few weeks ago, we were joined by Ray on the rolling roads in the workshop, looking at the effect of rider weight on speed and the watts used by a battery. But loads of comments from that video, so we've reacted to that by catching up with Ray and talking about some of the other factors that we can look at on the rolling road, and also answer some of the questions that you guys posed. Hi folks, yes, we are back in the workshop with Ray and the mighty rolling road. Now, on a recent feature, we saw that weight actually does matter when it comes to certain things such as speed and the watts used by your e-mountain bike. And we had some broad approval, didn't we, Ray?
We certainly did.
On the video, but it's very clear there are many other things that need investigation, right?
Yeah, particularly the gradient. Now, gradients knock the stuffing out of me, and it's true, that's where we're going to be looking next, because it's power to get up the hill. On the flat, it might be easy. I don't find it too hard, but we're going to look at that.
Now, in the video, we looked at the difference between rider weight and speed and the effect on watts, and we did it in this controlled environment. Now, many of you mentioned that you'd like to see some more real-world testing, which we actually have done in the past on different gradients. But what this does in Ray's workshop in the rolling road, it isolates things from such things as moisture, from wind, from What else have we got, Ray? We got
Well, virtually everything, like the rough road and bumps and abruptions and things like that. So what we're able to do is to put the bike on the rolling road, and it's always going to be the same type of run every time. So we've got the standard to work from.
I think one of the great things by doing this on the rolling road, Ray, was the fact that we can remove rider variability from the equation. And, you know, I've heard you say many times, Steve, have you had a late night? Have you been on the booze? Have you had not enough sleep? This machine takes all that out of it, doesn't it?
It certainly does. We're able to run the bike with the cadence drive, and I can control that from here very accurately, or I can get the computer to do something for me, to do a program of operations. And so I can repeat and repeat and repeat again the same operation, and we can see what sort of results we're going to get from different arrangements.
Yeah. Now, another comment which someone put in was they'd like to see the effect of different tyres and different tyre pressures. Well, funny you should say that, because we have actually done that, and we've got a Maxxis Shorty on here right now, but we've done it with a comparison to Maxxis Recon, which is a much lower profile and harder compound tyre. And we did find some interesting results, didn't we, Ray? We won't go into it too much.
No, we won't,
but you're right, tyres do matter big time.
There's been some changes in tyre technology over the years, and I think there's some very interesting stuff coming up, and we'll be looking at that in the future.
Now, I want to circle back for a minute to rider variability and also the environmental variability in terms of the speed and the watts used by each motor. Now, every motor works differently on different hills and also interacts with the suspension differently. So there's a huge subject there which can be explored. But like I said, doing this in the workshop here on the rolling road eliminates all those variables, because what we found out on the hill is, say, one motor with a little bit more overrun, which has been designed in the software, will operate more efficiently on super technical terrain, whereas maybe another motor which operates at, say, a higher cadence, maybe at 80 or 90, will be able to go up fire roads or smooth a single track a little bit more effectively as well. So these also have an effect on the speed and also the watts used by the battery, don't they?
That's what it's all about, getting the power out of the battery into the bike and onto the road, and it's got to be done the right way.
Now, now, Ray, there was a comment which I want to pick you up on, and that is all to do with watts per kilo. Now, watts per kilo is pretty much a comparison between two different riders. And John Rushworth mentioned he'd like to see a lighter rider with less watts compared to a heavier rider with more watts, and how that might equal things out. But Ray, when it comes to watts per kilo, I've actually done that test. And what we did was we took a specialized Levo with 90 Newton meters torque and a 90 kilo rider, and we put that bike up against Georgia Leslie, weighing in, she says, around about 55 kilos, on a Turbo Levo SL, which kicks out 35 Newton meters, and we could actually ride up the road at the same speed. But the thing was, Ray, is that even though we could ride up a fire road at the same speed, when it came to super technical terrain, things were swapped around. I mean, Georgia was behind me because, you know, technique comes into climbing. But, yeah, like I said, folks, on the rolling road, we can control everything. So we can give you some accurate data and some comparison between loads of different things. I tell you something, the Thai one is going to be really interesting.
That is an interesting one. But here we can emulate different situations and find out what's really going on. That's the trick. Find out really what's going on.
But I suppose the bottom line here is ultimately what we're trying to do with the rolling road is help you guys get the best out of your e-mountain bike equipment. Ray, what are you excited about in terms of the data that we can get off this rolling road in the future?
Well, I think we can get so much real data. In the past, it's all subjective. Now we can be really objective and really look at what's going on. The main thing for me is what's coming out of the battery, where it goes and how it gets down onto the road and helps you go along, helps your legs to do that extra bit that takes you up the hill better than you could do before.
So guys, what we're going to be bringing you in the future is a load of different tests, things such as different tyre compounds, different tyre pressures, the effect of different brake rotors. We've got small brake rotors versus big rotors, 2-piston versus 4-piston, the effect of different pad compounds, different motor types. I mean, the list, Ray, goes on and on.
It's pretty endless. So I guess we like to know what people really want to know. And there's one thing that we haven't touched on, and that is a sweet spot. And that's one thing that I think we really ought to think about for each rider, to try and determine where the sweet spot might be in the system.
Yeah. So there you go. Hope that answers some of your questions in terms of the recent feature on does weight matter. We will see a load more rolling road features in the months ahead. So tune in to Ray and his rolling road. And bike news, Chris. It seems that German brand Nox have now got their bikes available in the US. I love the look of the Nox bikes. We've seen them many times at the shows. I do miss the shows over the last few years. Looking forward to getting back there.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think one of the coolest bits of news this week has got to be Danny McCaskill going up the Lagan Wolf Track slab, isn't it?
It's cool, isn't it? It reminds me of the slab that we done, but it's a quote that Danny actually wrote on there, which I really like. He says, e-mountain bike isn't about making riding easier. If you put the same energy into your e-mountain bike, they can really do amazing things. And as you can see there, looking at that, you know, he said about riding down it was really cool for him now. But now he's flipped it around and he's riding up it. Yeah, it's a crazy climb that, isn't it? Do you fancy that one, Steve?
I fancy you. So that's the news for this week. It's been a busy week in the world of e-mountain bikes, for sure. It's just been commented that people like my colour coordinated plum EMBN top with the purple pots. Lots in the shop. Look, what colour top you got on today, Chris?
I've got the blue EMBN Adventure t-shirt, and I just had a big package come in, and it had so much stuff in there: t-shirts, shorts, stickers, face masks, literally anything, you know, that you're gonna need hitting the trails. So check out that merch shop.
It's all about the care package, whether you buy it or your mate, or your wife, or your girlfriend, your auntie, or your gran. Anyhow, what's on the channel this week? Coming up on Friday is an e-bike lingo jargon buster for many of you who are new to e-mountain bikes, but there's still a lot of terms which I don't understand as well. E-pack. I didn't realise what e-pack was until the other day.
E-pack.
And then on Sunday, we've got a video looking at the whole business and the whole brave new world of connectivity using the Bosch system. And then Monday, we've got the tech show, haven't we, Chris?
Yeah, we've got the tech show coming up where we're going to catch up on all the latest tech and also how we're going to look at making your e-bike faster for you out on the trails.
Now, lots of comments from last week's show where we looked at the new Mondraker Crafty XR. Marcus Outdoors says, nice suspension setup, but to be honest, I need to spend more time fiddling with the settings and volume tokens to get the most out of my existing setup. Well, the problem with suspension setup is only actually good for one track and one day and one rider. You'll never, ever be able to set up suspension that is good for every single scenario. So
I think it's quite a knowledgeable subject as well, I think, isn't it? Knowing how to adjust your bike to suit the, you know, the sort of feedback you're getting from the trail. I think, you know, if you're hitting a jump and you're finding it's kicking too hard, how to tweak that rebound down and the compression. I think it's quite intense, actually, I think.
Not really, Chris. You just go around the jump. It's as simple as that. Now, Scott says all the suspension tech is just a way to justify ridiculous prices. We do not need it. Just give me 160 mil front, 150 rear. It's a freaking tube going through a freaking stroke. Not complicated, but need to package it inside. There will be those that buy it. Scott, I agree with you. It goes up and it goes down. It's as simple as that. I mean, you know, get the settings in the middle and you're good to go. But, you know, we are with you guys in terms of some of the high prices on e-mountain bikes. But we do know that many manufacturers are super keen to get some more affordable e-mountain bikes into the mix. And I'm certain that in the next few years we will see more affordable e-mountain bikes on the market.
And the last comment coming in from Bjorn Random says, can a bike developed in an always sunny country handle wet, muddy British summers? Please test it. And I think it's true, isn't it, that some bike manufacturers actually do a lot of testing in England rather than like America and things like that, Steve, isn't it?
That's a big. Yeah. Have we actually got time to discuss that question? But guys, we love your comments. Keep them coming, and we'll catch up with you next week on the comments section of the EMBN show.
Yeah, now this is a really cool mod, and I think it's accessible for a lot of people out there. Now this is from Christine, and this is for the specialized battery charger. And as you know, it's a magnetic interface on this. Between when you plug that charger in, it pulls it onto the battery. So it is great at producing a great connection, but it's also great at picking up any metal shards or any bits of metal you got kicking around in your garage or your shed or wherever you charge your e-bike. And sometimes that can actually stop that battery connecting and charging up. Now, Christine has got creative with a set of old grips, snip them in half and simply push them over the end of the charger when she's not using it, so it's not going to be picking up all those bits of metal. Really cool, and obviously it's free as well. What's your thoughts on that, Steve?
I'm surprised that Christine has time to charge her bike. She seems to be always out going down rock slabs or wandering around Utah or somewhere in British Columbia on some massive chunk of granite or whatever rock it is. But yeah, nice one, Christine. Our car,
like that.
The Squirrel Squeezer. And funnily enough, moving to where in the world, and Christine, our car, the Squirrel Squeezer, is kicking off this action too. Crikey, Christine is really muscling in on things this week, isn't she?
Yeah, this is a
nice bit of after-work adventure. Oh, is it?
Yeah, nailing that rocky descent, isn't it? Pretty tech. Looks amazing riding out there, Steve. I think we definitely need to get out and visit to Squirrel Squeezer Land.
Yeah, I tell you, I'm pretty sure that is going to be, that's on the sea to sky country. That's going to be tougher than it looks on video for sure. But look at this Black Mountains backpacking piece here.
It's cool,
typical Black Mountains weather conditions there.
Well, you say that, Steve. I was actually there yesterday, and I think I've actually got a bit sunburnt from being up in the Black Mountains for a change.
Burnt in the blacks,
isn't it? With a bit of drone action there as well. It's nice to see.
But this is more my cup of tea. Like a little bit of duneage.
Yeah.
There's blue sky again. This is Yuda out in Israel, riding the beaches along the Mediterranean Sea. Crikey, Yuda, you need to be careful you don't get too much sand in your system there.
Yeah, I was going to say, and mixed with a bit of salt water could be the ultimate grinding pace, couldn't it?
Yeah, but I tell you what, Israel, what a place to go riding. I mean, this salt trail, or was it the sugar trail? Sugar trail.
Sugar
what
trail.
Is it? Guys, let me know. Put me right. What have I got? Is it right? Is it sugar or is it salt?
We love seeing all those entries here and where in the world where you guys are riding on your e-bike. It truly does blow our minds every week here on the show. And use that upload service if you want to get featured.
Time for the bike vault. What we got this week, Chris?
Well, we've got some great entries this week, and I think kicking this one off is Dennis. We've got a Trek Rail 5 out in Point Loma, California. Look at that, a bit of graveyard action going on in the background.
Yeah, in Fort Rosecrans National Cemetery. Well, I hope things aren't too bad with you, Dennis. Hope things are all okay. Visiting the cemetery, but
bike's looking banging, isn't it? I mean, the light on it is really good. Tan wool tyres.
I'm feeling a bit weird about talking about bikes and cemeteries, to be honest with you. But it's a super nice shot.
Super nice for sure.
Super nice shot. And this is beautiful. This is John Trek Rail 7 Custom. Looks you got a coil shock on there. This is in Newell Open Space in American Canyon, California. That's a lot of shadow on the bike, but it's a cracker, isn't it?
Got to be another super nice. And we've got more tan walls here from Lewis with his Focus Jam 6.8 out in Portugal.
It's a cracker.
Sembra. I think that's got to be another super nice, Steve, right?
I do like a good tan wall, yeah, absolutely. Nice Trek Rail from Phil out in Fleet, Hampshire. and another nice Specialized S-Works Turbo Lever 21 from Dan. This is out for a ride with the missus on her birthday.
Can't beat a bit of bluebell action, can you? And that's nice.
That's nice. It's super nice. Like it's super nice. What a lovely colour.
Super nice, yeah, for sure. I checked this one out. This is Scott with his High Bike All Mountain 3 up in Stipperstones in Shropshire.
Maybe
having
try
a blast up on the local.
Stipering.
Is it Stipperstones?
Yeah, that's Neil Donahue territory there, the Stiper.
Stiper. That's
Stiper.
a nice shot, for sure.
And
Stiperstone.
Michael looks like he's fishing on the Merida E160 in Bayern, in Germany, or Bayern. Can't beat a good Merida. What a bike. What a great bike. What a lovely shot.
Super nice.
And finally, Martin out in Skipton. Yeah, on the Cannondale Habit Neo. But Chris, the Habit Neo is a nice shot, isn't it?
It is a nice shot for sure. That I'm
do
just
like
looking back
Skipton.
through them now.
Chris is going to hit us with the bike of the week this week, and
I think John with his custom trek out in Newell Open Space. I think that shot. I think the bike looks good. As you mentioned, it is a little bit in the shadows, but I think the bike with that coil, it just looks super aggressive, and it looks an amazing riding spot. And the sky, sun, can't beat it. Super nice.
So there you go. Bike of the week from California. Guys, thanks for joining us. That's the end of this week's show. But any questions relating to Ray's Rolling Road? We've got a ton more data coming from the workshop over the next few months, which I'm sure will be very fascinating, especially in terms of the range and the speed of your e-mountain bikes. Chris, I hear you had a good time up in the mountains on the weekend.
Yeah, an epic Steve Jones adventure. You would have seen that video, but yeah, it was a good one. Bit burnt. My hands are still tingling, actually, Steve, from all the stinger nettles.
Tingling. Guys, see you next week.
Cheers. Thank you.